My husband's family owns some land about 45 minutes from San Angelo, close to Bronte. It's deep in the heart of Texas, let me tell you. Back when his mum was still living out there, we used to stay at the ranch in the hunter's trailer. It's real quiet, and being a country girl myself, I love it. We ended up staying there for about a week when my husband's cousin passed away suddenly. I remember the lights being out on the back porch, so everything was darker than normal, and it's already so dark you can't see past the fence. I was smoking a cigarette by myself and just enjoying the night when I began to look into a twiggy tree. I tend to trick my ears to challenge my fear reflex, and it looked like a figure was crouching in the tree. I don't scare easily due to dealing with insane circumstances in my life and systematic meditation, so I found it interesting, but not scary. About 2 seconds later, I heard a shuffling sound and I shifted my eyes down to see what I first thought was a deer on its hind legs. I was wondering how it got past the fence when I looked again. It had long arms and what looked like hands, and not hooves. Still, I thought I was seeing things or someone was screwing with us, and it made me mad. I said, "Hello?" and that thing crouched and looked right at me. The eyes weren't white like a deer's in the glow of the other side of the trailer. They were a brownish red. My stomach did about 17 flips and tears came to my eyes. I noped out of there and got into the trailer and locked every single door. I felt a sense of dread I'd never felt before. I checked on my kids first and told my husband what I saw. He told me he has heard and seen weird things out there since he was little, and he looked legit worried. As we were talking, we heard scratching at the side trailer door. We both freaked out, and I started making a knife spear out of a broom and duct tape. Finally, everything was quiet, and it became kind of a joke after a while. It still bothers me, though. I have gone through a variety of scientific possibilities, and they don't really fit or they concern me more. I don't know. I don't want to say what it might have been and the feeling I get about it. I don't want to go into getting growled at in my ear by a damn mountain lion there. And you know what's even weirder? The ranch is pretty close to where Brandon Lawson disappeared. That area is spooky enough without weird creatures roaming around. So, if you ever find yourself out there, just be careful and keep your wits about you. You never know what you might run into in those woods.
I remember the time when I worked for this guy who had inherited this old farmhouse deep in the woods of East Texas. The place had been deserted for years and the guy wanted to sell it. So we decided to head out there for a few days to spruce it up and make it presentable to potential buyers. I was just a teenager at the time looking for some extra cash, so I agreed to go along. We loaded up the guy's work truck with all sorts of tools, chainsaw, weed whacker, pruning shears, and set off on our little adventure. Let me tell you, getting to that farmhouse was no easy feat. It was tucked way back in the woods, a couple of hours' drive from Houston, and then another hour or so to clear the driveway of all the fallen trees and branches. But when we finally arrived at the farmhouse, things took a strange turn. There were signs everywhere that someone had been living there. Trails crisscrossed the yard and disappeared into the forest, and there were even fresh cooking smells lingering in the air. Feeling a bit uneasy, the guy I was working for grabbed a handgun and went to investigate inside the house. And wouldn't you know it, we found clear evidence that someone had been calling this place home. There were dishes in the sink, the bed looked like it had been slept in. It was like we had stumbled upon someone's secret hideout. But that's not even the weirdest part. In the shed out back, we found a live pig dressed up in women's nightgowns and bras. I mean, who does that? As if things couldn't get any stranger, we started finding weapons scattered around, machetes, axes, sticks. It was clear that whoever had been living there wasn't messing around. At that point, the guy I was working for decided it was time to get out of there. We left to get more guns and reinforcements, but I'll tell you one thing, I had no intention of going back. The guy even offered me more money, but I was like, no way, I'm not risking my life for a few extra bucks. Looking back on it now, I'm just glad we got out of there in one piece. Who knows what kind of trouble we could have stumbled into if we had stuck around. Some things are better left alone, that's for sure.
In 2022, I moved into a new house in El Paso. It was all good until one day my Vivint security monitor started going nuts, telling me that my garage door was opening and closing like crazy. It happened 3 times in just 15 minutes. Now here's the weird part. Every time I went to check, the garage door was closed shut. It was like my house was playing tricks on me. But then, when I looked at the video on my monitor, I saw something that freaked me out big time. There was this girl, or at least I thought it was a girl, walking out the front door. She had a black ponytail, a white nylon jacket, and this small orange purse slung over her shoulder. At first, I thought it was me. I often wear my hair in a ponytail, and I'm about the same height and build as this mystery girl. But when I watched the video closer, I realized it couldn't be me. This girl had a different feel to her, and then things got even weirder. When I tried to watch the video again later, it only showed the girl a few times. It was like she was there 1 minute and gone the next. I was freaking out, man. Who was this girl? And how did she get into my house? I even called Vivint and spent an hour on the phone with them, telling them everything I saw. They said they'd send me a new garage alarm and told me to call 911 if I saw anything like that again. I wanted to call the cops, but without any solid evidence, what could I even tell them? It's like the whole thing just vanished into thin air. But let me tell you, it still gives me the heebie-jeebies just thinking about it.
I hope you found these stories as chilling and unsettling as I did. It's a stark reminder that sometimes reality can be stranger and more frightening than fiction. If you enjoyed these tales of suspense, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more spine-chilling content. This is your host, Nicholas Black. Until next time.